Eat, sleep, bet, repeat. That's how we get down on the opening line, even when we're sitting in paradise, as my man Panama Jack, who you guys know better as the Duke of DFS, our soccer guru over here at www.elitesportsbetting.com. So, Duke, coming to us from a much nicer location than normal here today. So what's going on? Give everybody a little breakdown of what you're doing for your holiday.
I got my toes in the water, my feet in the sand, man. It's just a beautiful day down here at the beach. Of course, not without work. I mean, we can't go a day without giving you some sort of content. So we had to jump on here, talk about Boxing Day a little bit, but give you, I think we're up to 4 bets on this little show here for this weekend's EPL action.
Yeah, I wanted to kind of pick your brain on that before we start getting into the action for this weekend. We don't normally see games in this rapid succession like we had the Boxing Day games, basically yesterday. And now we're going to have a lot of these teams turn right around in 2 or 3 days and play, another EPL game right here. Mm-hmm. The reason why I ask this is, a lot of times we're getting down on these lines right now. And like you said, things may change when it gets a little closer. But, for the most part, we know who's probably going to be in most of these starting 11s and who's going to be out there. Do you see when they have these quick turnarounds like this that, we might be getting some B teams in some of these games?
100%. And you took the words right out of my mouth, Benny. It's the same thing every single year. Managers always complain about it. Players always complain about it. We see injuries. We see squad rotation. Hell, even the Everton manager, Carlo Ancelotti, just had his session with the media this morning, and his quote is, "It's impossible to recover from a game in 48 hours. So the players who didn't play against Burnley have more possibilities to play. I have to rotate the squad for sure, 100%. You also had Jurgen Klopp and Jose Mourinho both using the words criminal to describe this quick turnaround. So these guys will be playing 3 games in 7 days. And even though I'm a huge proponent of waiting for team news anyways, this is especially a time we want to wait for those games. So what I'm going to give you today is 2 bets on the early game that we're going to put in today. Everything else we'll wait for team news. And, of course, you can find my updated picks over at EliteSportsBetting.com once we do get that team news.
Yeah, and so we're talking the 7:30 game that we always throw a bet in. It's the one I put in before I go to bed on Friday night. This way I can wake up with some extra money in my account on Saturday morning. Not the greatest game this week, right? We got, I think it's Bournemouth and Brighton, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, they've actually been pretty terrible the last couple weeks, and so it's even more of a reason not to get up and get out of bed. But before we do that, I got to brag a little bit about our DFS content over at EliteFantasy.com because we smashed on Boxing Day. Our core 4, we had Jack Grealish, who went for 2.5x. Buendia went for 2.5x. Sidibe, who I called as the highest scoring defender because he was playing a little bit forward in a midfield role, put up 22.5 points. We had a subscriber take down the $555 tournament for $20,000 cash money. He wishes to remain anonymous, but congratulations to him. So it's not just betting. We're crushing on the DFS side as well. But, yeah, that early game, it's a tradition. And, look, I know. I've lost the last 2 weeks. I hear about it. I see in my DMs. You guys are right to give me a hard time. So I grinded a little bit extra, Mr. Benny, to make sure that we were finding some value here. And what I've done is I've come up with 2 plays. Brighton and Bournemouth, awful game. Not one we want to get out of bed and watch. But there's an interesting piece of information here. Number 1, like we've talked about, Bournemouth still haven't gotten a goal from a striker. The last goal from Josh King was November 2nd. Last goal from Callum Wilson was back in August. Brighton aren't scoring at home either. They're having their own issues, playing well. And actually, these 2 teams play very similar systems, the 3-4-3 possession-oriented systems. So what we have quite often is a bit of a canceling out situation here. These teams are sitting in 15th and 16th in the table, Benny, so points for them are crucial. It's not quite a 6-pointer. I think both these teams are going to be safe, come May at the end of the year. But essentially what we have is man-for-man all over the park, and especially if we get rotation on these squads, these lower squads that already don't have a ton of talent. I think we're going for a 2-for here. We'll go both teams to score no. So both teams will not score. So both teams to score no. And then we'll go first half Bournemouth +5. We got a little bit of juice on that. It's -180. Don't love paying that kind of juice, but I want to start the day off with 2 wins. So that's for the game, both teams to score no. And for the first half, Bournemouth +5 or plus 0.5, excuse me.
So when we're looking at this weekend, I mean, honestly, I was pretty much of the mindset that I'm going to be looking to bet a lot of unders in these games anyway because of the squad rotation and a lot of second units coming in and things along those lines. Would you think that's probably a good strategy? Like if you're just blindly going to throw in a bet this weekend, you would have to think that most of these games are probably going to trend towards the under with, secondary players in there, right?
And, when I was capping these games, Benny, that's exactly the results I came out with quite a bit. But most of them, the ones that I want to hit, are juiced. Mm-hmm. So it's 2.5 minus 150. It's, under 2.5 minus 135.
Right.
And again, for situations like that, certainly you can jump on that if you'd like to. I actually looked at the under in this game, just found more value on these two.
Right.
That's something I tend to bet unders on absolutely bonkers lines. So if I make a line, a 2 at minus 110 and it's a 3 under, minus 115, well, that's a ton of value. So I'm okay to hit that under there. But for these little games like this, Bournemouth, Burnley, or Bournemouth, Brighton, where, we're probably going to get a 1-0, 2-0 type of game, maybe even 1-1, although we're not rooting for that because we don't have both teams to score. Too much juice on the under. So if we do see a situation where we get to halftime and it's 0-0, maybe we can look at something at the halftime bet. But other than that, just look at.
Oh, I think we might have lost Duke there for a little bit. I don't know. Maybe a shark went up and got him. So let's pause this up for here, and I'll see if I can get him back in a second. All right, so we got Duke back right now. We lost him there for a second. I don't know. It must have been something with the Santa Ana winds, or actually you're on Florida, so it wouldn't be the Santa Ana winds. I don't know, maybe El Nino or something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah. So let's talk about the other couple games real quick here before I lose you again. I know you said you had a couple other bets for later on in the day. So what else are you looking at here for Saturday?
Yeah, once again, let's wait for team news on this, guys. But I like Southampton to win. It's only minus 105, which is interesting. I'm looking towards the under here as well, like we talked about, Benny, but not as likely to go there. Let's just wait for team news. Danny Ings, star forward for Southampton, was rested, so he'll be fresh. They also just spanked Chelsea in a surprising result. The worry is Southampton haven't exactly been lights out at home. So their form is good, but their home form is a little shaky. They did win 2 straight before their loss to West Ham. I do like them to get a win here.
And then go ahead. So you said you had one more as well, right? Southampton?
Norwich, Tottenham. This is my what the hell is going on with this line of the week. I had Tottenham about minus 200. They're only minus 145, so I actually see value there on the side. Harry Kane not getting a ton of chances, but when he does, he's looked really sharp in front of goal. And Norwich are now pressing out and playing more attacking soccer. They had that period where they went defensive. That's good and bad. It's fun to watch, but it also leaves them super vulnerable at the back. So I'm taking Tottenham to take the win here. I looked at the total as well, but I need at least a goal from Norwich to get over 3. So that'd be something I'm hitting live versus betting before the game.
So the Tottenham 145, that's the 3-way line?
3-way line to win, yes.
Okay, now I agree with you. That seems a little bit low. Do you think this is one that's kind of screaming out, hey, we're going to be sitting some of our starters or something? Or
So here's the thing. I think this quick turnaround is going to force Jose to play their best midfielders. Hasn't started Ndombele, hasn't started Eriksen the last 3 games. Why? I don't know. He likes to pick his favorites and run with that. The risk is we may have Eric Dyer, who is a literal trash can on the field. So if he plays, maybe we do look at that total and Norwich grabbing a goal. But I actually like Eriksen and Ndombele to press forward, create more chances for the likes of Harry Kane. So I'm hoping they rotate so they can get their best midfield in there.
Okay, so this actually would be something that may benefit Tottenham while they're, trying to figure out
what's going on
with everything there. All right, cool. So, hey, we got our 4 bets in here for the weekend. You got anything else you want to add before you go?
Look,
I know you said you got time to catch right now. I mean,
I got cheat sheets coming out for DraftKings and FanDuel for the DFS action later today. But I do have a tea time. And listen, here's my promise to you. If I don't go 2-0 on this early morning game, the 7:30 game, if you are in and around Panama City, hit me up in the DMs. I'll go buy you a beer at a bar. We're going 2-0 on that early game.
All right, I'm not going to be in Panama City, so I hope you do go 2-0. But if not, as you said, drinks are on Duke this weekend.
There we go.
And this has been another episode of The Opening Line here at EliteSportsBetting.com.